Look at this photograph, taken in 1918 in the parlor of a workhouse in Whitby, North Yorkshire. A woman sits in a wooden chair, hands folded in her lap, staring directly into the lens. According to the admission ledger, she is Agatha Blackwood, Governess. Age at intake, approximately 35 years old. Agatha Blackwood disappeared in 1868. That was 50 years before this photograph was taken, which would make her 85. She is not 85. Look at her face. Look at the skin beneath her jaw, the tendons in her hands. This is not an elderly woman, and that is not even the anomaly I need you to see. Look at her shadow on the wall behind her. The light source in this room comes from a single gas lamp mounted on the left wall. Every object in this image casts a shadow to the right. The chair, the side table, the glass of water on that table. Agatha Blackwood casts no shadow at all. None. The wall behind her is uniformly lit, as though she is not obstructing light, as though she is not entirely there. Let me walk you through exactly what the clinical record says. The Whitby Union Workhouse admission file, dated March 14, 1918, was filled out by Dr. Edwin Hartley, the attending physician. His notes are precise. Pulse, 52 beats per minute, abnormally low but steady. Respiration, 8 cycles per minute. He underlined this twice. A healthy adult breathes 12 to 20 times per minute. 8 is what you measure in deep unconsciousness. She was sitting upright, eyes open, answering questions. Her body temperature, taken orally, was recorded at 93.4 degrees Fahrenheit. That is clinical hypothermia, Dr. Hartley noted, and I am reading directly from the file. Patient shows no shivering response, no peripheral cyanosis, no distress. Skin warm to the touch despite thermometric reading. Discrepancy unexplained. He wrote discrepancy unexplained and then moved on to the next field on the form, as though that were a normal thing to write about a living person. A sworn affidavit accompanies the file, signed by Constable James Morrow of the Whitby Constabulary. He states that the woman was found walking barefoot on the cliff path above Saltwick Bay at approximately 4 in the morning. She was wearing a gray wool dress consistent with styles from the 1860s. The fabric was not degraded, not weathered, not moth-eaten. It was in the condition of a garment perhaps 2 years old. When asked her name, she said, Agatha Blackwood. When asked the date, she said October the 7th, 1868. Constable Morrow noted that she seemed, quote, not confused, but rather certain in a manner that suggested she was correct, and the world was not. Now, the Blackwood disappearance of 1868 is a documented case. Agatha Blackwood, age 34, governess to the Halford family of Dunsley Manor, was reported missing on October the 8th, 1868. A search of the coastal paths found her shoes placed neatly at the edge of the cliff at Saltwick Bay. The same cliff. The coroner's inquest, held November 1868, returned an open verdict. No body was recovered. The Halford family's testimony states she had been in good spirits. There was no note. The parish register lists her as presumed deceased, 1869. 50 years later, a woman with her name, her face at the age she vanished, and her clothing walks the same cliff path, and casts no shadow. Here is where the documentation becomes adversarial with itself. Dr. Hartley ordered a second examination 4 days after admission. His notes from March 18th record something he does not attempt to explain. He measured the length of her hair and fingernails on the 14th as part of standard intake. On the 18th, he measured them again. They had not grown. Not at all. Not by a fraction of a millimeter. He confirmed his instruments. He repeated the measurement twice. He then added a note that has become central to every analysis of this case. Patient appears to exist in a state of biological suspension. Metabolic indicators are present, but non-progressive. She is alive, but she is not, in any observable sense, continuing. The photograph we are looking at was taken on that same day. March 18th, Dr. Hartley requested it specifically for the file. And this is what I need you to understand about the shadow. In 1997, a digital restoration of this image was performed by the Whitby Museum Archive. The restorer, a woman named Catherine Lyle, submitted a technical report. She noted that the area of wall directly behind the subject showed no luminance differential whatsoever. She tested for retouching, for chemical alteration of the plate, for double exposure. Nothing. The plate is unmanipulated. The light simply behaves as though the chair is empty. There is a framework, and I will present it to you without endorsement. Dr. Alistair Venn, a theoretical physicist at the University of Edinburgh, published a paper in 2004 examining what he called temporal displacement events, cases in which an object or person appears to have been removed from the flow of standard thermodynamic time and reinserted at a later point. He argued that such a displaced subject would present exactly the markers found in the Hartley file: reduced metabolic rate, fixed biological indicators, and critically, an inconsistent interaction with electromagnetic radiation. Light would pass around the subject rather than being fully obstructed, because the subject's position in local spacetime would be, as he phrased it, probabilistic rather than fixed. Not fully here, not fully absent, suspended between the moment of departure and the moment of arrival. If Agatha Blackwood left the cliff at Saltwick Bay on October 7, 1868, and arrived again on March 14, 1918, then from her perspective, no time passed at all. Her hair did not grow because for her, 4 days had not elapsed. 4 minutes had not elapsed. She set down her shoes and took a step, and the world aged 50 years around her, and she did not. Agatha Blackwood remained in the Whitby workhouse for 11 weeks. On June 2, 1918, the file notes that she walked out through the rear gate and was not seen again. A search was conducted along the cliff paths. Her shoes were found at the edge, the same spot, placed neatly. No body was recovered. Now, I want you to look at this photograph one more time. Look at her hands folded in her lap. I described them to you at the beginning as the hands of a woman of 35, and they are. But look at the fourth finger of her left hand. There is a ring, a thin band. The Halford family testimony from 1868 states clearly that Agatha Blackwood wore no jewelry. She owned no rings. The intake form from 1918 lists her personal effects. No ring is mentioned. But it is on her hand, in this photograph. On March 18, 1918, a ring that she did not have when she disappeared, that she did not have when she arrived, that she is wearing in the only image that exists of her between those two events. Where was Agatha Blackwood for 50 years? And what happened to her there, that she came back wearing something she did not leave with? If you think you know what you are looking at in this photograph, I want you to leave your answer below, because I have studied this image for a long time, and I am no longer certain that the woman in this picture is arriving. I think she might be leaving, and I think this photograph caught her in between.